Ecstatic Bliss. Secrets to living a juicy life. You are not your name, not your job, not where you live, not where you were born, not your relationship status, not etc., etc. And you know this. And we spoke already about the energetic blueprint of your soul, basically what lies behind your identity in essence. And also we talked about how to decode this blueprint by using astrology, human design, and the gene keys, which are tools for our mind to understand our essence, and also for our human self, for this avatar, to adjust our life in alignment with that blueprint. Because in my opinion, and maybe you even feel that without knowing it, that once we live truly in alignment with our blueprint, which is our essence, then life feels much more easy and also much more happy, fulfilled. Maybe not always happy all the time, but at least fulfilled in the sense of, yes, this feels right for me, how I live, how I express the authenticity, the truth from the heart that is much more visible also to others. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I really, really recommend it, because it has become a very beautiful one, also about the templates and codes we bear inside of us. And yeah, for all, especially those who are interested in more the masculine approach of deciphering who you truly are. And today we are looking a bit even more behind the scenes of our energetic blueprint, because it helps us to remember our divine nature. And all those labels we have been given or put ourselves onto us, they restrict our true potential, because by design, labels always are limited filters, like blurring the truth of the absolute truth. Yeah. And they are actually also always filtered very subjectively, flavored according to the one using these labels and the collective imprint even on it. So each word is a label. And so by design, they limit us, because what we truly are cannot be even put in words, obviously. So what I want to invite you today in is to really drop your mind and put it aside, and also your idea about maybe creation, or maybe you even have already read about it. It's also quite aligned with yogic philosophy and terminologies that you can research further if you're interested in. Today is much more a broader view for a more broader audience, I would say, to get access to deeper layers of how our energy, our essence, and consciousness and soul and the divine are interconnected, that constitute your blueprint. So let's look a little bit into creation. Before coming into form, before coming into this body, before incarnation, as you know, everything is a vast sea of consciousness. Consciousness, eternal, non-definable, not to be actually put in any box or form, pure potential, what lies inside this consciousness. And for consciousness to experience itself, it has to descend into form, to, in a way, contract this vast sea of absolute potential to a smaller, fractured even maybe, we can say, or a contracted energy of consciousness into form. And that form then vibrates in a more narrow wavelength of consciousness. In other words, we can see the whole sea if we expand our consciousness, But when we are this single human self, we have just one glimpse into the vastness of this ocean. We are just one wave. And actually, awakening, ascension, is about expanding your narrowed view of being a single wave, maybe even having forgotten that you are a wave in an ocean, and think maybe you are the whole ocean. That awakening is to the fact that I'm just a wave. There's so much more out there, so many other waves, and behind all waves lies a whole vast ocean I cannot even grasp how vast this is. So expansion into higher consciousness, that's awakening. That means to experience itself, consciousness needs to conceal some parts of the absolute truth, of the absolute potential, which is everything else that is not that specific wave or you, and narrow this focus down, forget the rest of the ocean, so it can experience a glimpse of the whole in a very specific filter, or through a very specific filter, through a lens that is flavored by a specific vibration, we can say. So you have everything, but because of concealment, the wheel of forgetting, you cannot see everything. You bear everything inside, and that's a journey through life, on lifetimes over lifetimes, to approximate again this all-encompassing consciousness. It's a hide and seek with itself, we can also say. It hides itself from itself to reveal or find itself again for the sake of enjoyment, experience, play. And this specific wave that you are, to stick with this image, can in turn be further inspected and decoded into even smaller aspects. And when we do that, we can map that onto that specific energetic blueprint that you carry. Or also, what I like to place in here as another imagery, because it always gets deeper into the subconscious, or it activates something different than just a logical, limited mind to use imagery, is that of a perfume. So your energetic fragrance. That is as if consciousness chose a very specific set of scents, of flavors, and mixed it into a unique perfume specifically dedicated to you. And that is your vibrational composition. You can also think in the same way in terms of ingredients of a soup. So as if specific energetic codes have been put together to exactly match a specific energetic fragrance. And that is inside of you, vibrating inside of you, and emitting out of you, transmitting for others a specific frequency, or we can also say, I feel always like this frequency that you carry inside of you, or vibration, is like a transmission for others to remember one other aspect of themselves. As if one wave says, hey, this is also part of the ocean. And another wave, hey, this is also part of the ocean. And by encountering different other waves, I'm just sticking here for the simplicity of it to people, but obviously also objects, everything around you. Your whole reality is part of that ocean. That through each wave, you recognize, you expand your consciousness into thinking out of your restricted, limited view into the bigger ocean. You expand back into where you come from, so to say. And during the course of awakening or expansion, you also realize, hey, I can switch between these perspectives. And in the last episode, I also switched between the human and the soul, between the limited human self in the storyline and the soul on a higher level, orchestrating together with the divine what this human avatar is living or experiencing. And here the same, you can switch between this viewpoint of your single wave, your single energetic composition, because this is why you incarnated. Your soul wanted to experience exactly that blueprint and what it does in interaction with other blueprints, so to say. because we all interact and interdepend on each other. And then to find out, hey, these are around me all other aspects of the self, of the bigger self, of consciousness. And part of this is also inside of me. I don't necessarily have to express it, or it's maybe not the priority or the importance I give to it in my lifetime, but it is like an expanded awareness of who you truly are. And then you can switch, to come back to that, you can switch between, this is also part of me, but now in this lifetime, I'm experiencing and I'm exploring specifically that energetic composition I came here with. And we want to frame even this transmission you have inside of you from your energetic composition. We can even say that's an energetic signature, or the signature of your essence, of your soul. Similar to the label of the perfume bottle or the name of the perfume. Another term would also be the energetic fingerprint of your soul. Yeah, that is what you are transmitting through your blueprint, in which you see things, filter things, walk with, talk with. That carries your unique fragrance in a single coded label form, so to say. And of course, all of this, what I'm talking about, is a concept that we can also perceive from multiple angles and can use different terminologies. So maybe something what I'm framing in some certain way is triggering a remembrance for you with other imagery or, in a different way. And that's totally fine. It's just the point that I want to make is to bring awareness to that fact of the limited I, the more expanded awareness of your unique energy composition, and the even more expanded viewpoint of you being everything. Yeah, it's always a transition between different perspectives, viewpoints. At least I find it fascinating to contemplate about these topics, because it gives you a much deeper understanding of yourself and the whole existence. And also of others. You understand others much more. Sometimes we project what we like or how we would do things onto others, because it is our way of doing things through our energetic blueprint, and of course also our conditioning, our belief system and so forth. But the baseline is always our blueprint. And then we project it onto others and think like, why is she or he doing it this way and not the other way? But maybe that's just not the way, because it is not written in that trajectory of that soul. So it, in a way, also gives more compassion, more understanding and non-judgment towards others' path. And therefore, I also really love astrology, human design, and the gene keys, because they exactly pinpoint these are the energies that interplay in your energetic fragrance. This is the perfume you are wearing here energetically. It's a little bit like going backwards in a sense of if we personify consciousness for a moment. If consciousness thought, okay, now we have these energetic scents and we mix it together to have this new perfume and name it this way, name it in that way. So using these tools, astrology, human design, gene keys, Kabbalah as well, in a sense then we, as a user of that perfume that has been gifted to us, we are becoming detectives of investigating what the original scents, the original energetic codes are in that perfume. So that we can wear that perfume even more confidently, so to say, with much more self-love, with much more precision, with much more adoration even for ourselves, for this uniqueness we have inside of us. It's not that you not wear that perfume when you don't decipher it, but it becomes much more inhabited in your body. I mean, it's also a lot about embodiment when we are incarnated. Although on the spiritual path, of course, in a way we have also this concept of transcendence, but it's in our time much more about the ego, to destruct the ego and the identity and become much more a divine human, divine embodiment, or the embodiment of the divine. So it is using tools to decode your blueprint in order for you to live in alignment with that. I can just repeat that. It's always and again the same. Soul alignment, aligning with your soul. It can also sharpen your gratitude that this specific perfume was only gifted to you. There is no other perfume alike, maybe similar ones, but none exactly like yours. Of course, it shouldn't be an invitation for the egos to step in again, but more so an invitation to be in awe of creation. And again, that you can switch between that perspective of your unique wave perfume and the whole ocean that contains all perfumes or all scents altogether. Depending on which focus or perspective you use, you can zoom in and zoom out and zoom in and transition and get a holistic view, more and more holistic view on existence. I know this topic is quite deep and I just, barely scratched the surface, but it should bring an awareness into you of it. And I always trust that whatever, I'm called to share triggers something in someone listening to this. So you can explore more, you can awaken more to your own true essence and embody that essence even more. And it helps to understand that importance of your energies, because your soul came here not to vibrate in some distorted way. Your soul at this point in time, this lifetime, you are here to reclaim your original perfume fragrance, your energetic fragrance that has been gifted to you. Because over lifetimes, humanity has distorted fragrances or has mixed and matched them, so to say figuratively, so that we got lost somehow and didn't remember the truth. And now we are on that path of remembering, or consciousness decided, I want to change the game again. I want to remember myself again even more. I want to feel myself even more. I want to live more truthfully, more in tune with what I actually vibrate in, which is love, as always. So your soul signature energetically is kind of like a descending of consciousness further down and down and down into form, and then you vibrate through your being in that energetic frequency. And if you have listened to some other podcast episodes already, then you know that this essence digging phase, I call it, which includes astrology, human design, and the gene keys, is part of my one-on-one mentoring Soulgasm, because I feel it is such an important, essential base step to live that life in alignment with your soul. And sometimes also still, so if you just want to decode that blueprint, I still also give separate readings. Just DM me on Instagram most easily, the link you find in the show notes. So if you just are interested in your essence digging phase, so to say, I can also do that, because I feel no matter where you are, this will help you deeply. Honestly, it still helps me to go back to that, because it's also here a spiral. You decipher something of you, you have aha moments, and then you integrate it, and then you embody it, and then again you maybe struggle with something, or you feel stuck, more or less, and then you go back to those profiles that are generated out of the concepts, and then you're, that's why, and this is still something I can much more focus on, or much more include, or this is something I was missing, or this is why I function this way and someone else function in that way. It's so valuable, and I feel like these tools should be actually part of the school system at some point, hopefully. And even in business, I mean, how would business be different if the if the company was run on how someone works energetically, it would be much more smoothly, much more honoring also the different gifts and talents someone has. And also obviously in family. So if you have a child, to get accustomed with that energetic blueprint of your child and how it interacts with yours, or in general, the whole family concept and system. I mean, this is a whole different, another topic to explore each and everyone's blueprint within a family construct, and then not separately, but in interaction. What these energies do to each other, so to say, not negatively, but how they interact, interfere each other, and what actually gets activated in someone else because of someone other's blueprint. Yeah? We activate each other into something. We activate and mirror each other into remembrance. So whenever you're in a constellation with someone else, can also be just a friend, a partner, or even someone next door, these energetics influence each other, obviously, and always another field is created, kind of like a field between you, a subtle field between you that vibrates in that new perfume, so to say, that is mixed from all perfumes in the space. With that, I leave you for your own contemplation. As always, that invitation is, to dig deeper, to go further, because I feel, especially nowadays, there's so much information out there, and the most important thing is actually to use that information for your own benefit, not only listening to it, but continuing to sit with it, to marinate in it, so to say, so that you have revelations why and what, especially, what is important for you, specifically on your path. No one can ever tell you what your soul can tell you. Yeah, obviously. No one can ever give you that advice or revelation that your soul gives itself to you. I mean, you are your soul, so again, we have this, don't split it always. That's actually also something I want to guide you always to not split the I, the identity, and your soul, but more merge both, so that you become a soul-aligned identity, so to say, whilst being in this body. Anyways, the point is, no matter what you read, you hear, you see, all of it is just an invitation for you to sit and look deeper within and make your own findings, your own truth. No one can give you what the soul reveals from inside. Because sometimes I feel, especially at the beginning of a journey through awakening and spiritual evolution, it is often outsourced, like, oh, I want to read this book and I need to read this book even more. So, or this is still something I want to listen to. This is still something I want to watch. This is still the course I want to do. It's a lot, this outer view, and it's okay. It's probably most people go through that phase of outsourcing, in a way, their own knowledge. Because all of this knowledge you have inside. So either, yes, you seek it outside to internalize it, or you sit in meditation, for example, or walk in nature, or however you receive it. Sometimes it's also just an event, a sudden event, unexpected event, that you get a revelation. And that revelation, that inner insight, this knowledge or even wisdom you get access to from your soul, from your inner knowing, no one can teach you this. And this is something, I'm fascinated by, because oftentimes that is very mystical, where you sometimes even question, did I ever even, before that, live life truly? We hear each other next time for the next phase. And as mentioned in the beginning, I invite you to also listen to the podcast episode about codes, templates, astrology, human design, and gene keys. It's quite a long episode, that one, but it brings you more into that layer I already touched about blueprints and how to decode it. Much love and much bliss. Soraya Ananda. If you feel the deep pull to walk this spiral more intimately, Soulgasm, my 6-month one-on-one sacred mentoring awaits you. This is a living embodiment of all I transmit here, but uniquely decoded for your soul. Enter the portal of ecstatic bliss and unleash your personal soulgasmic reality. All details and the link to book your vibrational match call are in the show notes.